Hello there, and welcome back to France. We're currently at war with Ulm, Aragon, and Great Britain. Of course, Ulm brought in two one province minors. That's not really a big issue. And also Aragon brought in Burgundy. So we'll be dealing with them, but for the time being, it will be trying to get ourselves some gain what we actually want here. So in this turn, I will be trying to get as much as I can from Great Britain. And we'll be handing it over to England as soon as the war is over. We'll also get the last province that we need to annex Trier. So with that in mind, we'll simply keep on going these wars. We'll also hand over the provinces to the Timurids afterwards, and then we'll probably do some more warfare in Asia. So we'll see how it turns out. But for now, I'll simply get going, and we'll see if we've got something interesting going on for us. As you can see, we are more or less done now with the war against Ulm. The goal here will be simple, or rather simple in this case. I will be forcing them to hand over the last province that we need for Trier, and I'll also force them to turn into a monarchy, and that is will potentially allow me to vassalize them if they're not too mad at me, which they probably are. No, they actually aren't. So as you can see, I can potentially now try and vassalize these guys. They do hate me quite a lot, so we do not have the I could always try to vassalize them, and I think I'll actually be able to pull it off if I just give it a go. So we'll be trying that. Burgundy also bribed their way out of this war with 600 ducats. A little bit too much to turn down, really, especially considering that how could I not take such a potential good gift? So yeah, I'll be trying to vassalize Ulm here, and if that works out, then I will be closing in on the amount of people that I can actually use here, because I'm a little bit unsure who still are the electors here. Brandenburg, Aachen, Salzburg, the Papal State, Tuscany. So potentially what I can do here is go for vassalizing the Holy Roman Empire, or 4 of the electors in this case, and then basically take the Holy Roman Empire that way. But we'll have to consider that, but for now we'll be continuing our war here. And we'll see how it turns out. But it should be just fine, and we should be able to get what we're after. So we'll see how it goes. Took a military idea, supply trains, which will give me another 33% reinforced speed. Should help out quite a bit. And apparently the Portuguese and the English are currently screwing up my cardinals here, so I'll have to do a little bit of investment. Apparently I cannot only take 5 points at a time, and that actually takes forever clicking, but I can live with that. Also, as you know, we are basically closing in on the peace deals here, so I'm a little bit unsure what I can actually get out of Great Britain, or how much. I'm currently at 52%, so I will most likely take these 4 provinces down off their hands and leave it at that. Thus, I can also try and cut off Norway if I should get into a war with them, and that should work out just fine. Unfortunately, once again, I did screw up with handing this over, or handing it back is probably the right wording. So we'll be doing these sieges, and then we'll see how it turns out. Show declaring war on Ming is a positive thing, as you might imagine, because of the fact that by them doing so, I will be able to most likely vassalize Ming, or take a couple of more provinces from them, and then vassalize. We'll simply have to see how it all turns out. But for now, we'll be working on the sieges here and getting things done. So we'll see how it goes. Peace deal against Great Britain ended up being a little bit, or some other lands, because as you can see, they do have a lot of land in here. So I'll actually have to start working on that, and thus I want England to take this rather soon. Then I think I can get enough to actually start handing that over to England. But we will be handing these 3 over, and then we can potentially start worrying about Norway as well. But for now, I will be making peace with Aragon. I think I have Valencia, just got it, so we'll be taking that one. It's not really that expensive. That is actually something that's worrying me a little bit. But we'll be handing over these, or taking these 2 too, and hand them over to whomever we want. Apparently it will give me quite a lot with everyone in Europe, but it should be fine. So I'll have a lot of provinces to actually hand over now, so it'll actually take a little while, but it should be fine even so. We'll have to see how this turns out, but it, as I said, should be fine. If not, I'll be a little bit worried. We'll simply hand that one over to Mali, and potentially I can now have Mali screw them over again for me, which would be a very positive and beneficial thing for me. So we'll go ahead and send them on, and then I'll simply have to keep or spend some time now getting all the new provinces over to the new owners, and that should be basically enough to keep me occupied for a while. So I'll just do that, and once I am done, I'll get back to you, and we'll continue our, well, conquests, I guess. So we'll see how it goes. I've gone for the next innovative idea, which is pragmatism. It gives minus 25 to mercenary cost, so that'll help a little bit. Not really that much now, but early game it could have been pretty damn nice. Aragon entered into a military coalition against us, not really surprising, seeing that I screwed them over pretty, well, much. So I'll keep on selling provinces and trying to, well, sort this out. So apparently it seems that even though they have the right culture and such, they will not buy it unless they're actually bordering it. And that is kind of putting me in a very difficult position here. Because since I can't actually sell anything if it's not actually bordering their provinces, it means that Shawnee has to be, that I will have to declare war on them with the, well, goal of taking these 3 provinces and hand them over to the English. And by doing that, I'll have to convert them, but it should be fine even so. Then I will be able to hand this entire area over to the English for me, so the English will be a vassal for some more time. Probably the what's their name? The Portuguese for a while too, but probably just as long as to allow them to call these provinces. Nothing too much longer than that. So yes, I will be having, well, Portugal is overextended, so I can't actually sell them that one. Let's see here how we're doing in terms of overextension. As you can see, it's actually pretty high. So this one at least I will be getting rid of now, once I can sell it to the Timurids. So that's not really an issue at all. So there are some problems, but overextension, once it goes down, so will my my rebels. So let's see here. That one, can't sell it because of overextension. Can't sell those because of not having or sharing border. So we'll be waiting now, and I guess I can start the second round of wars. And in this case, I will be declaring war on Shawnee, and with the goal of taking these 3 provinces, converting them, and handing them over to the English. And other than that, I will most likely be, well, it seems the Castilians and the Portuguese have actually started colonizing this area along with the Aragonese, so I'll probably have to wait a little bit before that. But yeah, Shou is slowly but surely dealing with Ming. So what will I do now? It'll most likely be another war. Malabar actually left the coalition. A lot of them did, which doesn't actually... The coalition system doesn't make any sense, because when I conquer in one area, they actually leave. So I guess you could do a ping pong to actually go bypass the system in some aspects, because Malabar left the coalition once I actually took land in this area and over here. And that actually makes sense, because it would seem that my area of expertise or my area of focus has changed to this, but that's not the case. I'm actually focused on pretty much all the world still. So the coalition system, I think, still needs some fine-tuning for it to actually work, because as you can see, it's mostly neighbors that are part of the coalition against me. Khmer down, or this area down here doesn't make too much sense, but even so, it's not really that much of an issue. And also Great Britain makes sense. Shawnee would make sense, actually. Nowhere's left, so, well, it still doesn't make too much sense, but easier to, after 5 years, if you conquer on the opposite side of the world, the other people will actually leave. So you can use that to your advantage to get rid of it, but or try to get people to leave, but it still doesn't, as I said, make too much sense for me. So yeah, we'll most likely declare war on Uzbek as well, grow the Timurids a little bit further. We'll wait until they actually call this area though, so just to give them a little bit of time. But yeah, I will most likely declare war on Malabar now. Malabar, Japan, and Shawnee are the currently 3 targets that I'm going to declare war on, and that should be just fine. I also forgot to actually set them as my rivals, so I wasted a lot of diplomacy points again. And I'll most likely now, before I do anything, start the annexation of Manchu and also Trier, so that I don't actually just randomly forget about that. So now I started the annexation of those 2. That will bring me to 0 on diplomatic relations, and that is good. But for now, we'll be starting the wars again, and I think I'll actually just start with Malabar, because I have most troops in this area, and sieges will, and this is most likely the war that will take the longest time. So that should be fine. Let's see, Champa, Dai Viet, the ruler of Oirat Horde, and Tibet. So they actually have a couple of unions, which kind of could prove troublesome, but should be fine even so. We'll go ahead, show superiority. It could potentially also break their unions, which would be a very positive thing to have happen, at least for me. So I'll go ahead and fight this war, and we'll see what happens. As you might imagine, these wars aren't actually that interesting. They're not westernized, so they don't actually have any amount of forces that could potentially pose a threat to me. So I'll just go ahead and get sieges up, and we'll see how it goes. The war against Shawnee is going actually pretty damn well, because of the fact the sieges just take about a month. And that is kind of hilarious, because I haven't actually done anything with these guys before. I didn't actually know. But as such, I did start and should have started that war last. But yeah, we'll be doing a little bit more sieges here with Malabar, and then we'll be making peace. I'll probably take two of the Malabar provinces and 2 from Oirith Horde. Basically because of the fact that I want to grow Timurids, and the easiest way to do that is simply by handing over these provinces here. I'll most likely have to convert them once again, but it should be fine even so. So I'll allow a little bit more sieging to go on with these guys here, and then we'll be making peace and dealing with a couple of rebels that have popped up. But yeah, I'm also saving my missionaries. I think I should actually just go ahead and make peace with Shawnee. Simply because of the fact that then I can have the missionaries start their job here. So I'll be taking these 3 provinces, and I'll be basically handing them over to England once they have been converted. But it seems that I'm not actually getting any overextension from taking these provinces, so I have no idea why. So I'll take just that one for good measure as well. And apparently it doesn't actually cost me any diplomatic power either to take anything from them, which also is kind of weird. So yes, it's kind of fun, but apparently I can also use them as a bank. We'll take 1500 ducats. Cost me a little bit of inflation, but at least I'll have money. So we'll see here. Apparently there's, I guess the conversion also will go rather quickly. Might be 5 months. So that is all very interesting and very well. Japan entered the military coalition against me. That's too bad. Shawnee entered the coalition. That's also too bad. I'll have to find an ally of Japan then to fight or to drag them into a war. So that'll be interesting at the very least. But at least now I know that these guys don't actually give any overextension, and they don't actually it doesn't actually cost me that much administrative power either. So what I'll actually do here, I think, is simply go for a full annexation of Maya, and then cause or give myself some how should I put it, and then simply take the provinces for myself and annex them and call them myself before they start westernizing or anything like that. So I'll be going after Maya and Shawnee and doing just that, which will be kind of interesting. It'll give me a lot of land in the New World too, so that'll be, I guess, fun, good. I know we'll end it up at when we once have decided. So yes, this is probably the peace deal I'll go for with Malabar. They'll give me some provinces to myself that I can then sell to Kandash and Timurids, and we'll also take back the 3 Kandashian cores. So that is what we'll go for. And other than that, I don't think I'll do too much. So peace has been made, more or less, and I can now start selling and handing over provinces to my vassals. We'll see how it all ends up. As you can see, the plan worked out basically as expected. I could hand over Shawnee's provinces as soon as I had actually converted them, and now I can basically hand over the remainder of Great Britain here. So that is a positive thing. Great Britain will most likely colonize most of it for me. Also funny to some aspect, but should work out just fine even so. Also, Southern America is now landlocked. We'll most likely leave everything that we need on that note, so not really that much else to say. Also, I most likely sold or gotten most of the other provinces off my hands. There are a couple, 1 or 2, 3 more remaining, I think. 2 more, yeah. And these 2, they need to be converted before they can be sold to Kandash, but it should be just fine even so. So what we'll be doing now, I think, is declaring war on Ming. They currently have 4 provinces, and hopefully I can then go for the straight out vassalization. And they have a pretty sweet bonus to them in the fact that Japan will most likely be dragged in as well. Japan and Ming. So let's just get right to it then. I'll most likely be taking some more provinces from Japan to hand over to my vassals and so forth. So that'll be what we'll be aiming for, and we'll see how it turns out. But as I said, should be a fairly easy war. Most of Japan is actually Catholic now, so I can simply hand it very easily over to my vassals. So with that, we'll simply get going, and we'll see how it all turns out. Just got the last defensive idea, which gives land attrition minus 25%. Pretty good idea and something that I should have aimed for sooner. And also with it we get the attrition for enemies +1. Not really anything that I would say hooray for, and that is basically because of the fact that I really don't need it. So there's that. What we will have to do though is, as you can see here, I couldn't actually vassalize Ming right away now, so I'll have to take two or more provinces simply and hand it over to Shun, have them core it, and then I can basically use that to vassalize Ming afterwards and get that going. But apparently there's a little bit of confusion here with these guys, because they're apparently just walking straight back and forth and killing off my troops here, and I cannot say that I do like that. So the Catholic Zealots are a little bit unsure about if I'm friendly or not, and well, I don't know how to what to say to that. So I guess I'll simply have to fight them for the time being. Let's see, we'll simply have to suppress them with force. No real reason to lose stability because of those guys. So well, it'll be a little bit interesting to see how we actually end up in the end game. I'll probably just try still control the expansion and see how far I actually get, so I'll get a little bit of an idea. But we'll most likely go for a war against Muscovy sooner or later. It seems that Muscovy has some little bit of an issue here, which is kind of good. The Ottomans are chewing up Hungary, which is also good, because if they do, I can simply take a Hungarian province, release Hungary, and then basically use Hungary to eat up the Ottomans. I'm a little bit unsure if I actually making peace with these guys right now would allow me to vassalize them, and it actually does. So we'll go ahead and cancel that claim, and we'll become best buds with the Hungarians, and I'll basically peacefully vassalize them and then use that to my advantage here. So that is probably the end of this one. We didn't actually get too much done, but at least now I can go after Great Britain next time and hand over these provinces to England. So that's a little bit a little bit of gain there. We'll probably go after the Incas, go after the Mayas, and otherwise start causing some trouble there. But yeah, we'll simply have to see how things work out. The annexation of Manchu and Trier is coming along nicely, so not too much to say there. Also, the two provinces here have been converted, so I can just sell them to Kandesh as soon as we're done with the wars. I also declared a war on Khorasan. We'll simply take it, hand it over to Timurids, get it done with, as it were. So we'll see how that works out. But thank you for watching. Please leave a comment, praise, criticism, anything you feel like, and I'll see you around next time. Bye.